My name is Alana Stoyas, and I'm the CEO and business owner of Flight of Fancy Travel. And we are a modern boutique travel agency that services basically anywhere in the world because most of it is done remotely. But we focus on customized FITs, which are flexible independent travel itineraries. And that's for the traveler who really likes a really custom built, detailed itinerary and just wants to arrive on their vacation and, have everything taken care of for them.
Yeah.
So that's primarily what we focus on. And we service clients, here in Leesburg, New York. I have clients really all over the country.
Wow, that is amazing.
Mhm.
And to my understanding, a travel advisor also helps with making sure basically everything goes smoothly, gives you
Correct.
insights, helps you maybe sometimes with car rentals, booking hotels, all of that good stuff. I want to know about your experience because the name has the word luxury in it. Tell me
Mhm.
a little bit about that experience versus just some other experiences with other
Sure.
travel agents or advisors. I'm sorry.
Sure. Well, luxury can mean a lot of things to different people, but really for me in this business, luxury is in the details. It's in anticipating what could happen and taking care of it for my clients before it ever gets to a crisis on vacation. So it's really personalized attention, like white glove service. We definitely love to take care of all of those transfers, tours. A lot of the clients that come to me really are looking for something that's not your standard basic tour where you're with 50 people on vacation in Europe and you have someone with a little flag that you
Flag.
have to follow. These are more very discerning activities that are really custom tailored to the client
Yeah.
and are more private.
Wow, love
Yep.
it. I'd like to know, back up a little bit and know
Sure.
how you got started in this industry. And have you always had an itch for doing all of this?
Well, yes, I've always loved travel. But really it started out I've owned a couple small businesses. It started out as an event planner. I owned a company called Parties with Panache and I did lots of weddings. And so from there, I then had kids, decided I didn't want to work all weekend, got the itch to work again. And then I started an interior design business called Flight of Fancy Design. And then once COVID hit, I took a little break and realized that after some time went by that really I was posting so much travel inspiration on my design page that, maybe I was leaning a little more towards that being the passion that I wanted to pursue now. So the common theme is that I've been designing and planning things that
Curating?
that require a lot of organization and managing of minute details
Yeah.
for years. So this was just kind of a natural thing. I'm just designing itineraries
Yeah.
now, and it's the best job in the world.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've got the look and everything. So I love that. Love. Before we get to the fun questions, I just want to ask you one more thing that I like to ask other business owners is what they do with their marketing online. Is it more word of mouth? Are you putting videos out there? How are you getting the word out
Mhm.
and the experiences that you're providing for your clients out
Mhm.
there in the online world?
That's a great question. I've been very fortunate that I have wonderful former clients who really, when I transitioned into this business and started learning everything I could about travel, they just jumped on board. They really were like, "We know you're going to do a phenomenal job for us." So I had a bunch of former design clients who just, wanted to get started right away. And then from there, it kind of was word of mouth. I do a lot of social media, and I do get some leads from that as well, but mostly word of mouth.
Okay.
And, I have a host agency, and Fora Travel is based in New York City. And we get client leads from them because I made pro. So I'm like in the top 5% now at that company. So that allows us
Okay.
to get leads sent to us as well. So then those are really all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Thank
Hmm.
you for sharing that. I would like to ask you about, since I have you here, some travel trends for 2025 that you're seeing. And would you mind
Sure.
sharing that with us?
Yes. Okay. Well, there's a few. I'm going to think about how to narrow it down, but one of the ones that was kind of a niche request is now becoming more of a mainstream,
Ooh.
uh, requirement. And that's, I think, sustainability and
Mm,
ecotourism and people wanting to, culturally support wherever they are and leave little, you know, carbon footprints
yeah.
and things like that. So people are definitely looking at that. Personalization, and I would say authenticity and these itineraries, people wanting really, really unique. I mean, travel costs a lot of money, right? So people don't want to do just the basic norm. They really want to feel like they're well taken care of. And
Yes.
that's where, I think one of the most wonderful things about my business is that's why it's thrived is people really are looking for that. Let's see what else. I would say, oh gosh. I would say tech forward travel too. People want kind of ease and seamless check ins and
Oh,
things like
yeah.
that. And with AI becoming so popular, don't think that's going to ever take away from the human touch.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going to change how, you know, perhaps their check in process goes and things like that
Yeah.
when things can be, you know,
More
audio
automated.
activated and things like that.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that has something to do with it. And then, I think culinary tourism is still going to be on the rise, especially with, there's so much talk about the food in our country
Yeah.
and, how not great it is. And people are really seeking out those really authentic, farm to
Experiences.
table experiences in Tuscany and things like that. So we're
Wow.
seeing a lot of that as
Yeah.
well. Mhm.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I have to ask, do sometimes people, I know like maybe seeing like the Eiffel Tower is like something you gotta see, especially if you've
Hmm.
never seen it.
Hmm.
But for maybe people who have already traveled, do they maybe like, is this a trend? Is what I'm basically saying. Is it a trend now to maybe go places where it's not as popular and kind of
Yes.
get like a feel of like what it's really like with the locals in secret areas or things like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're definitely seeing an uptick in people who are wanting to go to Greece but don't want the crowds. And there will always be people who want to go to Santorini and Mykonos and those
Yes.
places. But a lot of times we're here seeing requests like, where can I go where I don't have to deal with that?
Yeah.
And so, like places like Naxos and Paros, they're equally as beautiful. People just don't know about them. But
Yeah.
the thing is, they are because of Instagram, because of the influencers, because of that,
Yeah.
and they're getting more and more popular. So I think this summer we're going to see more of those smaller,
Locations.
discrete islands and places to visit. Like Montenegro seems to be popping off a lot. I'm hearing a lot of that. So,
Yeah.
those places that people really hadn't thought to
To
explore
go.
before.
Yeah, and
So
like you
that's
said,
definitely a
I
trend.
think that social media definitely plays a big part in that. Like someone goes
Absolutely.
somewhere secluded and they're like, wait, that looks amazing. That's
Yes,
not
let me
Mykonos.
save that
Yeah.
and, save it to my folder on IG. And then they come to us and be like, how do I get there? Like, what do I do there?
Yeah.
All of those things.
Love
Yeah.
it. And now, why are people taking advisors and what is the value that they add?
So I think that, I have clients who are millennials, the 28 to 40 range and even beyond that, and they're busy in their careers and they want to have a seamless experience. And so I'm seeing just, my demographic is really from 28 to like late 50s, even early 60s. So it spans quite big decades, but they just want seamless experience. We provide something that OTAs like over, online travel agencies like Expedia cannot give you.
Yeah.
Where they're really concerned with putting heads on beds, and we're have relationships with these hotels and resorts where we can call and add perks that you cannot get by using an OTA. So who doesn't like showing up to a room with a bottle of chilled champagne and a personalized note, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's people like feeling pampered and they want to feel special and they want the seamless itinerary and they want it all taken care of so they can just sit back, get on that plane and know that once they land, everything will be
Wow.
taken care of for
That
them.
is a dream, actually. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I've had that experience yet, but I'm hoping to in the future. It sounds lovely. Like, it kind of sounds like in the movies.
Right. Well, it is. And that's my favorite part is VIPing my clients
Hmm.
and just making sure that, those little special touches can, be added. And there really isn't a good way to do that unless you have a travel advisor who has the relationships with the hotels and has a contact there and can be like, hey, they want to work with us. They don't really necessarily love working with the OTAs because they know they're going to get quality clients over and over again, especially if they, really treat our clients who arrives
Yeah.
like with, special treats and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. No,
yeah,
you can't beat that experience and that
right.
human connection and being able
Correct.
to talk to somebody as opposed to like, hi, thank you for calling so and so.com. Like we
Right.
really appreciate like no,
Yep.
absolutely. Like you're a friend and you kind of build a relationship too because you're like,
Yep.
hey, I just saw this. Do we have any like time or do you think we could make this work in the itinerary? Like it's
Right.
exciting. It's like kind of like with a friend, like you're planning it,
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And if something were to go, awry when the clients arrive, then their contact or the reservations manager, I can get in touch with them and usually fix it very, very quickly.
Nice.
Yep.
You can't get that with other
No,
things.
because if you book it on Expedia, there's no one to contact, right? You're kind
Exactly.
of on your own. And
Yeah.
um, again, there is a hierarchy at these hotels. They do have lists behind the reservations desk, and travel advisor clients are at the very top of that list. And the Expedia and the TravelZoo and all those
Are not.
are not,
Yeah.
right? Because those are the last rooms usually available at
Okay.
the hotel.
Good to know. This
Yeah.
is some insight here. And now I would like to know what are the differences between travel agents and travel advisors? Because I myself kind of, wait, I thought they were the same thing and have
Yeah.
misconceptions. So please
Hmm.
clear the room here.
Okay. Controversial maybe, but
Hit it.
there is a difference. Travel agents are usually have a high quantity of clients and they're booking the same resorts over and over. So think like Sun and Sand. So, these are usually agents who are booking the same like Turks and Caicos or, St. Lucia, Barbados, that's those quick bookings and they
Yeah.
don't necessarily always require itineraries, right?
Mm.
So that's kind of the difference. An advisor really does advise on, hey, this is going to be a phenomenal tour. It's a wine tasting in a cave or,
Wow.
of a castle or something like that. We're really going to get to know the client on a really personal level in order to tailor the itinerary to their interests, likes, dislikes, whereas more agents are, really just quickly booking things and
Yeah.
moving on to the next.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that would
No.
be the main difference, I'd say.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, thanks for sharing that. Because I also
Hmm.
was like, wait, what's the difference? But that's for me not researching and like not knowing
Right.
like and it can be confusing for some people.
Right.
So I'm glad that you're here
And there's
to.
nothing like bad about any of us, but it's just I feel like a difference in how what you're comfortable with and what your niche is. And so some people only do cruises, and so they can book them real quick and move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like advisors are really taking a lot more time behind the
Yeah.
scenes to uh, create something special,
Yeah.
and that's definitely time consuming and a
Absolutely.
little more personal attention.
Yeah, no, that sounds a little bit more lovely. So yeah. And then what are some popular destinations that you are seeing for
Mm.
2025?
For 2025, we're seeing lots of, well, Portugal's been, really ramping up. Lots of people wanting to go to Portugal. You're always gonna have the people that want to go to Greece and
Yeah.
Italy and Amalfi Coast, which you can't even walk there in the summer because it's that crowded.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I think we're gonna see places more like like I said, the little islands like Ischia, which is a little island off Italy, the coast of Italy, and they have wonderful natural thermal pools and
Ah,
things like that. So health and wellness is another trend that I didn't mention that
mm,
we're seeing people who really want, those quieter destinations, more off the beaten
de-stress.
path. Montenegro, we're seeing a lot of. Let's see, coming up in winter. We're seeing a lot of, Central Europe for the Christmas markets and things like
Mm,
that. Where else?
how exciting.
Yeah, there's those types of places.
Love it. I'd like to know, do you have like a 5-year like plan or goal that you were looking to achieve for your business and for yourself? Would you mind sharing those with us?
Sure. Well, I'd love to scale the business and, eventually hire some independent consultants as well so we can service more people,
Yeah.
and maybe even have them have a different niche than what I have. Mine's pretty much Europe based. I don't do a ton of Asia or Middle East or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it would be great to have people who can, book
Do
that
that.
kind of
Yeah.
travel. I have like this dream to partner with some wineries in the local
Oh,
area. And, if they specialize in French wines, perhaps collab with them and bring some ideas of here's where a great place to stay if you ever
yeah.
wanted to travel to France. So that's like a goal I would really like to pursue in the next like year, I would say. What else? And then I have this dream to like create some group trips where, I plan everything to a certain destination and people can kind of come along and then they get to experience like my what my services can do,
Yeah.
but they can just sit back and enjoy the ride and get to experience those special tours and activities,
Yeah.
excursions.
That sounds exciting. That would sound really fun, especially get like a whole bunch of girls together and
I
like,
think it would be
woo, that's a party right
phenomenal.
there.
Yeah, so it would be so much fun.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you owe me a soda? No, just kidding. All right. And now I would like to know personally, what are your favorite destinations? Where do you like to like
Hmm.
travel yourself?
Oh
And
gosh. Well, we really love Greece. My husband's family is from there. So we, took the kids there and that's my daughter's new favorite place. So we've been there a couple times. I love France. We were
what
supposed to
gave that away for
I
you?
know,
I'm just
like,
kidding.
couldn't tell, couldn't
Emily in
tell. So
Paris.
Emily in Paris was great, and I mean, Italy is like another place. So, those are some of my favorites. I love architecture and ancient culture, and that's kind of my style of trip. So, yeah.
Okay. And growing up, or did you travel with family, or like what brought on this like I love Europe? Like I want to know, like, were
Right.
you a girl like with a journal of like I want to travel here one day,
Mm.
cutting out clippings, putting posters up?
Well, I do carry a journal when I travel,
Okay.
but I didn't always. When I was growing up, my family traveled. My mom loves to travel, and so does my sister. But we traveled mainly by car, so we didn't really ever go to Europe when I was a kid. I've done most of that in my adult life, and I met my husband, my now husband, in the early 2000s, and he worked for a bunch of companies that started out based in the Caribbean. So we spent a lot of time in the Caribbean.
Nice.
So that was not a terrible thing. And then this next company he worked for was based in Germany and Paris. So he would whisk me off to like those places for
Nice.
sometimes just a weekend because it was a holiday party. So that's really where my spark for international travel came from. And was formerly a teacher many, many years ago, and I ended up taking a bunch of students. I just wanted them to see the world. And so we went toured all over London and
Ah,
Wales and all over the UK. And that was a phenomenal experience as well. I love seeing the spark in their eyes. Just, talk. I was an English teacher. So
yeah.
seeing the things that we had only talked about or read about in the classroom, it was really neat. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where the spark for travel came for
That's
me.
so beautiful. And
Yeah.
I love that you took students. I'm sure you were just like in awe, like seeing their experience, like, whoa, what? Like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
taking them out. Maybe some of them have never even traveled like outside of
Right.
their town. So
Many
to
of them
just,
hadn't. That's correct. And so, seeing Shakespeare where he was buried after we had read Shakespeare
yeah.
was, really neat to see.
Oh,
So, and
no.
then it's just been ongoing since then.
Thank you for sharing that. That was a really,
Sure.
really beautiful story. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
Is there anything maybe that I have not touched on that you would like to get the word out, or something about yourself or your business?
Oh gosh. Well, I just encourage people to think about, you know, using an advisor. I think a lot of people don't know exactly, they think it's antiquated, like, oh, advisors still exist. And yes, they're making a huge comeback and to explore just what we can do for you and how we can maybe elevate your travel experience. A lot of people can plan good trips, but what if they can be incredible trips, and we kind of bring that level of excellence to the experience.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think they are definitely going to be like, I don't know trends, but in my mind, I feel like travel advisors are definitely going to be on the come up, especially because of social media, because there's so many things and you just get overwhelmed. You're
Hmm.
like, oh my gosh, like I saw that, but then I saw that, and I don't even know where to start to
Start,
plan. Like
right.
it's overwhelming with so much information and
Yeah.
where you can go, and you look up an article online. It's just like, oh, I want to go here. Okay, but that's all the way here and there. Like,
Hmm.
how can I make this work?
You have
It's
a million browsers open and you don't know how to, decipher the information, and, you're reading all the reviews. Well, that's one of the reasons I started the business too, was because, I was planning family vacations. I had actually worked with a travel agent, and I was solving a lot of my own problems and stuff. And so when I started the business, you can't imagine how many, friends, potential clients were like, I would love to go to Europe, but I don't even know where to start. I have a family of 5. Hotel rooms don't accommodate that in Europe, right? So it becomes planning paralysis. And so,
daunting. Like, ugh.
yes. And so a lot of people just choose not to do it. But what's been the most rewarding thing about since I started was how many people have done things that they never would have done if they hadn't found me, right? Multi-leg European stops with a family of 5.
My gosh.
And they, never thought that they might do that. Or, I do book premium and luxury cruises. And a lot of people don't know about the cruise world and how wonderful it really can be as sort of a sampler platter
Yeah.
for getting a taste of locations that you then maybe want to go back to. But booking cruises can be really overwhelming. There's so many details, there's so many hidden fees. So a
Mhm.
lot of people may not have done that, but have come to me and been like, oh my gosh, that was really cool. I would cruise again. So those types of moments for me are the most rewarding for my business, I would say.
No, absolutely. I'd have to agree with that for you, because I feel like you love helping people and just making them have a good time, but also making sure that you're like on the
Hmm.
same page and just seeing eye to eye, making sure like, oh, I did that. Look at them having a good time. Like,
Right.
I'm so glad that they came
Yeah.
to me. So
Yes, it's super rewarding. I love it.
for sure. And now, I'd like to ask you a question that I ask everybody at the end of the podcast.
Okay.
Is if you have maybe a quote or a saying or a mantra that has inspired you in any way in your life, or that you're currently still using to help inspire you or uplift you.
Oh
And if you could
gosh.
share that with us.
A quote or a mantra.
Yeah. Or even just the lyric of a song or a
Right.
poem.
I mean, carpe diem, that seems very cliche, but it is like seize the day, because you may not have tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
right?
Yeah.
We've seen, a lot of tragic things happen to people who weren't um, expecting it, and people who get cancer and then recover and are like, it is my time to see the world. And I just would say, don't wait for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Make it happen today. Um, yeah, not all who wander are
Or
lost. I
lost.
love that one
Yeah.
too. I
Yeah.
have a book that says that in my
Oh.
library. So get out, explore. The world is so big. There's so much to learn from it. Um, and then for those people who are like thinking that young kids, it's too young because they won't remember, I'd say take them anyway. Take them anyway. You read them books,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't stop reading them books because they don't
They won't
remember what
remember
the
it.
book is.
Exactly.
So, if it becomes too much to consider, then that's where they're travel advisor. But take those young kids and explore, because it really does help shape, who they are and their experiences, and it's good for them to see other cultures. So I'd
Yeah.
say those are some.
Beautiful. No, those are good ones. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
And where can people find you and your services? Like, give us your website or your Instagram handles.
Sure. So my Instagram handle is at flight of fancy underscore travel. And my email is Alana dot Stoyas at fora.travel. And let's see, my website's super long, but I'm sure you'll post it in like the
Yeah,
show
we'll put
notes or
on your
something.
blog. Yeah,
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast and
Thank
offering us
you.
a
Thank
lot of
you.
insight and upcoming trends with travel. This is good to
Yes.
know.
Good.
People listening will be ahead of the game here.
Okay, great.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for having me.
Absolutely.